Welcome to the Addison Bowen podcast, where we talk about what it actually takes to hit your first six or multi-six figures in business. I'm Addison, certified clinical hypnotherapist and online business coach for entrepreneurs. And 3 years ago, I decided that nursing wasn't for me, dropped out of nursing school, and dove into the online space. From free hypnosis audios to unfiltered conversations and business advice, this is the space for you to take radical responsibility towards creating your dream business. Let's dive in. Okay, guys, you're at the point in your business, you've reached a point in your business where you need to stop overthinking and wondering if you're constantly doing something wrong in your messaging and your marketing, etc. And the reason that I say this is because we're going to go in just a moment into talking about how we shifted a very few amount of things in my client's mindset. And she went from 2 failed mastermind launches to a sold out mastermind launch in the span of a few months, and how this had everything to do with her mindset and nothing to do with her strategy. But the reason that I say this is because you likely are not doing anything wrong in your business right now. And you're probably not seeing the results that you want, not because you're doing something crazy wrong in your mindset. I know there's this honestly, I'm sick of all of this messaging that we see all over social media, all of this noise about having the right messaging and having this and blah, blah, blah. Like, those things are important, but we spend so much time fixating on them and spending thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on different programs to help us with our messaging or help us move through things. But at the end of the day, the reason that we're not seeing those results is because our subconscious mind is not in line with our conscious desires. And so you aren't doing something wrong in your business if you're not seeing the results that you want. You just need to play bigger in the way that you show up. You just need to own the fact that your work is life-changing. You just need to expand your capacity to hold more in business, to hold more clients, to show up on social media regularly, to actually do the things that you say you're going to do and be consistent, right? You need to release the anxiety, the overwhelm, the mental spiral, because this gets us further away from our goals. So again, we're going to talk about my client who we shifted a few things in her mindset, and she went from 2 failed mastermind launches to a sold out mastermind launch in the span of a few months. And what's crazy about this is literally right before I started filming this episode, she actually messaged me. I looked at my Slack briefly just to check in with my clients, and she actually messaged me and just said that she just closed her last person into this mastermind. And so she's at a 100K launch, and contract was signed, invoice was paid today, and she has over, I think, $8,000 in monthly recurring revenue from this one program, which is insane. And I think that this is so important to talk about because, I actually asked her, I said, can I tell this story? Because I think that in the online space, authenticity is so important. And I wanted to make sure before I talked about her story that it was okay that I mentioned she had 2 failed mastermind launches and that she was okay with that, because the reality is so many people go through this. So many people have this experience of a failed launch or, a quote unquote failed launch. I don't think there's any failure. I don't believe in failure. I think that all failure is just feedback, but they have these moments of things not working or, people not signing up on their program or only having one person in the program or 2 people in the program or not, making the money that they wanted to make that month or whatever. And we take this as failure, and then we allow that to change our behavior and how we show up moving forward in the future. And so with this particular client, she's actually someone who initially came to me after signing up for my Dynamic CEO Hypnosis Bundle. And she told me that the hypnotherapy audios in this were so profound for her and helped her just with the daily mental spiral of this failure that she had experienced in her launches, and just changed how she felt in her business and changed her mindset around wanting to continue and wanting to show up and wanting to just do the things she needed to do in order to create better results. And so she knew already that she was this expert at sales and marketing. She was killing it at showing up every day, but she was still struggling to sell out her launches. And she didn't really know what the reason behind that was. So this is when she turned to hypnotherapy. And I knew, having a few conversations with her, that subconscious reprogramming coupled with how she was already showing up in her business would change the game for her. Because at this point, it wasn't she needed to do more, or she needed to post on TikTok 3 times a day, or she needed to tweak her messaging, or she needed to do anything crazy. She just had these few things that were happening in her behavior. I want you guys to remember that all blocks and all subconscious blocks manifest as behavior in our our business, she had these few things in the way that she was showing up that was like cutting off massive momentum for her. And so I knew that these two things coupled together would be life-changing for her. So she jumped into a one-on-one hypnotherapy container with me, and she actually ended up signing up for a year after working together for a few months so that we could really dive deep. And she was like, this is crazy. I don't know how people don't do hypnotherapy every single day. We actually joke that she should be like the main affiliate for my hypnosis bundle, because she tells all of her clients, she tells everyone, like, you need to buy this if you haven't done hypnotherapy before. So we joke about that all the time. But we got to work initially when she signed up for our one-on-one container into identifying where her mindset and subconscious was creating these limits for her on her success and money, so she could attract more into her business, so she could have these sold out launches that she wanted, and why she, as a marketing and sales expert, was continually seeing failed launches. Because I think the thing is like, I've had so many of you guys share with me, like, I am an expert at this. Like, I'm an expert social media manager. I am an expert, at marketing. I'm an expert at sales. Like, why can I produce these results for my clients, but I cannot produce these results for me? And it is because there is something happening underneath the surface. It's because you're doubting yourself. It's because you have imposter syndrome. It's because, your behaviors are not necessarily matching like the level of success you want. And so this is what we initially kind of, found with this particular client. So in our work together, we didn't shift her messaging or content. We didn't shift, how much she was posting. We didn't shift who she was speaking to. We didn't shift the offers at all in her business. We literally did none of that. All we did is we shifted who she was being and how she was showing up in her business by utilizing subconscious reprogramming. We shifted her fears and shifted, the behavior that she exhibited in her business, and shifted the level of trust she also had in her strategy that allowed these massive results. So again, she just messaged me and she said that she hit 100K launch for this launch, just signed her last person, sold out this mastermind, which is absolutely insane. Not insane in like delusional success kind of way, but insane just in the sense of like, she had all of this within her prior to doing hypnotherapy, but it just took hypnotherapy and subconscious reprogramming to unlock this. So after we identified just a few blocks in her capacity, how she was showing up in her launch, and shifted her mindset on selling and launching needing to be hard, that is what created these results. So a $69,000 launch initially turned into a $74,000 launch, turned into a $100,000 launch. She said that she felt like her capacity had 2 times over the last month. So what she was able to handle had insanely grown. So I also want to hit home that like she went through a lot of personal things during this time. She had, something come up with her dogs. She had multiple different things come up in her life. I think she got sick during this time as well too. But she was able to hold it all and to still show up consistently and to, separate the business from the personal, handle the personal, take care of herself at a deeper level while also still showing up in her business. And she also said that she like feels really good and keeps rooting and grounding into her hypnotherapy. She doesn't feel like, oh shit, I need to rush into this launch and I need to like produce these massive results right away. She's like really grounded in her business and the ability to see continual results and to create this monthly recurring revenue. So, with her capacity to hold all the things, to handle life and business stuff, to get off the emotional roller coaster, she's, made consistent sales, created consistent recurring revenue, expanded onto new platforms, genuinely feels good in her business. And I think like, again, just to hit home, left the emotional roller coaster behind. So prior to us working together, she experienced a lot of like, what if this doesn't sell out? What if people don't join this program? What if this, like, what if, I don't have leads in my pipeline? What if, I don't have potential like clients in my pipeline, whatever. Like she had these doubts, and she also stressed about money a lot because she has a team that she needs to pay, and she also has like massive life goals as well too. So we were also able to just shift that doubt and fear into excitement, feeling good, feeling grounded, taking care of herself when she was sick, taking care of like her animals when, she had this experience in her business. So I want to talk just a little bit more in depth about the things that we actually worked on and what she was experiencing, just so if you guys resonate with this, you can understand like, again, how we can create these massive results for you just simply in a few reprogramming sessions together, whether we use neurolinguistic reprogramming or neurolinguistic programming or hypnotherapy. This shifts can happen really, really really fast. So number one, we have identified like a few different gaps in her mindset around sales and marketing. The first one being that because she comes from a sales background and she is a sales and marketing expert, she was taught in the sales, world that you always have to have leads in your pipeline, that you have to, know what's happening in the pipeline, that you have to know what's, constantly going on in the pipeline. And when I say in the pipeline, like whether or not you have hot, warm, cold leads, whether or not like you can pitch to them, whether or not like this constant almost control in what is happening in the sales process. And so we identified this, and what we found is that because there are moments where maybe she didn't know if people were watching her offers, or, she has like 6,000 to 8,000 followers on Instagram. She doesn't know how many people are like seeing her posts and seeing her stories and just not taking action from it right away because they need to hear the right thing to buy, right? And so this would make her feel like very doubtful, and then less powerful when she was showing up and selling. She was really good about showing up and selling daily, but she would have this feeling of like, I don't have sales in the pipeline. I don't have leads in the pipeline. So I'm not going to sell out this launch. And this created a lot of this like negative energy and connotation around launching, this like heaviness around launching. And so when she would go to show up, there was always this underlying under the surface of like, I don't have leads in the pipeline, when the reality is like people can come to you at any moment in time that you don't even know are watching you, can sign up for your offers. People are watching your content that aren't liking it, aren't commenting, aren't engaging with you. There are literally like millions of people out there that need your services and might just like need to hear the right thing, or have you sell one more time, or, have you show up with like this amazing energy. Man, not that you always have to feel amazing or, have amazing energy to sell. That's not what I'm saying. But it just took her realizing like, oh, this one mindset that I have around sales is changing the way that I'm showing up in my business. So the second thing that we really noticed with her mindset is that because of how she's approached launching in the past, basically what she would do is she had this pattern of almost waiting until the last couple of days and the last couple of maybe even week to sell really, really hard, because in the past with her launches, she's always had these like last minute Lindas. So not a lot of people would sign up at the beginning of the launch, and then the tail end of the launch, she'd have, like all these people come in. So this essentially created the belief that people only come in at the end. They're all last minute Lindas. And so what she would do is, instead of taking this full launch period to consistently sell to different buyers throughout the full launch, is she would kind of like, give herself space, and she'd be like, I don't need to sell yet. I don't need to sell yet. I don't need to sell yet, until the end of the launch, where she would have this massive push where she'd be like, I got to go live every day. I've got to sell every single day. I've got to post all these stories. I've got to, get all these emails out. And so she would have this like lax at the beginning, like relaxed kind of mindset, and then move into, oh, I got to push. I got to do everything that I possibly can. And I have to do more to get these people in. So the reason that this was an issue in her behavior is because at the beginning of the launch and throughout the launch, we're pertaining to different buyer types. There are people that need to hear different things in order to be able to buy. And so when she's just pertaining to that kind of like FOMO last minute buyer, she missed all the potential opportunities to sell to people at the beginning of her launch. And so just shifting the mindset around launching of like, people are always ready to buy. They just need to hear, you sell, allowed her to create more momentum in her business and allowed her to sell more spots in her mastermind, which was just a really simple shift, right? The third thing that we noticed is her capacity. So she would kind of, have this feeling of like, if one bad thing happens in my personal life, or if I have an off day, then I can't show up in my business, or, it's really hard for me to hold it all. And she wanted to have this feeling of, selling and showing up and creating content in my business is just something I do. It's just a part of my day, and I'm always creative, and I'm always able to show up, and I'm always able to do that. And I'm always able to open up these portals to sell, to allow people to join my offers. And so what that is typically is a capacity thing, your ability to hold more, to hold all the things, the personal life, the business, the clients, to hold more clients and support your clients while also, posting on social media. And this is typically a very gradual thing, right? Like when I first started marketing consistently in my business, I couldn't post every single day. Now I'm able to post on TikTok, post on my podcast page, post on Instagram every single day. And so I had to slowly expand that capacity to hold all those things without it feeling like this massive heavy weight for me, right? And so we're able to do this in hypnotherapy as well too, to expand your capacity to hold all of the things and truly believe that you can hold them and make that a part of your routine and habits as well too. Again, shifting the belief to shift the behavior. So who she's being in her business allowed her to create this massive momentum and massive results in her business. So I think a lot of times when we think about hypnotherapy, when we think about mindset work, it feels like this intangible, like woo-woo magical thing, when in reality, the way that I approach hypnotherapy is your identity and your behavior and who you are being in your business is going to dictate your results. The action that you take is going to dictate your results. But the way that you're showing up in business right now is determined by your past experiences, by your beliefs, by the way that your subconscious mind is filtering out what you're seeing in your world. And so when we're able to shift those beliefs, shift those experiences, and shift what you're seeing in your world to, align with a different behavior that's going to create different results for you, the action that you take better aligns with what you want. So that's literally all we're doing here. But she wasn't able to see these things, see these gaps for herself without our work together and without shifting these in literally 1 or 2 sessions in hypnotherapy. So now she has all of these audios to return to, launch audios, capacity audios. She has some like sold out launch audios for different offers. She has inconsistency audio. She has a lot of different things that she can also return to at any point throughout her week. Even though we are doing weekly sessions, I think she is someone that does hypnotherapy every single day because it is so powerful. So I truly believe that business strategy gets to be so simple, right? Like she was already the expert. She was already selling most of the time, just not seeing the results she wanted. She was already, posting consistently, again, just not seeing the results that she wanted. And we didn't shift anything in the mindset. In the strategy. We shifted everything in her mindset. And I think that the strategy is so simple, but we overcomplicate the strategy. So I've seen such simple shifts in mindset and behavior in business change everything for my clients. Simple shifts because it's about the behavior. It's about who you're being. It's about your identity. So business gets to be so fun. That's the other thing too, is she's like, I'm falling back in love with my business. Like I'm excited. I'm feeling good. I'm not stressed about money. Like that's the whole point you started your business, right? Is to create that level of freedom. And there's a reason why like a lot of people, even if they're making $20,000+ months, are still like stressed about money, are still experiencing like the resistance in business, are still feeling like I hate my business. I like resent my business because their subconscious mind is not in line with what they actually want, which means they're creating these behaviors that, keep them burnt out, that keep them procrastinating, that keep them struggling, that keep them stressed, right? And so it's all starts in the subconscious mind. So business gets to be fun. It gets to be simple, and multiple 5-figure launches, 6-figure launches apparently now, which is, crazy to see that message right before I took this episode, that feel really good are here for you. And I'm not going to say that, business is easy, because it's not easy. I'm not going to say like, oh, we create more ease for you with hypnotherapy, because business is not easy. There's always going to be challenging moments. Like I said, with this particular client, she went through a massive thing in her personal life that was really, really challenging for her. And she got sick as well too. I think she's been sick twice, throughout our work together. And both times we've talked through the mindset of like, it's okay to rest. It's safe for me to rest. She was just sick and then signed another client, has over $8,000 in recurring revenue from one program, right? And she's still seeing results, even though she experienced these other things. So I'm not going to say that like business is easy. Business is never easy. And the people that expect business to be easy, I'm just like, like good luck. But what hypnotherapy allows us to do, what subconscious reprogramming allows us to do, is get off the emotional roller coaster and change how we react to those things. So you might experience like a really tough situation, but with hypnotherapy, we bounce back much quicker. So we don't allow it to hold us down. We don't allow it to make it mean something about us. We don't allow it to, be something that we ruminate on for weeks. Like my assistant even says, like, to me, that I'm someone who bounces back so quickly. I've had really hard moments in business. I've had moments where, people have been upset with me. I've had moments where, I've had to deal with difficult situations with clients, like people fighting in my mastermind, for example, or, someone being rude to another client in a mastermind. That was not easy for me to handle, right? But it didn't mean anything about me. And I didn't sit on it and let it affect the behavior and how I'm showing up in my business. I didn't sit in it and like allow it to affect me for weeks, or allow it to, make me feel like I'm not a good coach or not a good business owner. And that's all hypnotherapy. So when I say that it gets to be fun and it gets to be simple and it gets to be easier, it just simply means that we're able to handle the conflict. We're able to handle the hard moments a little bit better with the use of hypnotherapy. So overall, when we understand where we're limiting ourselves in business, we get to show up, as you better on social media. When, you show up on the platforms that you want and you don't allow yourself to limit the capabilities for yourself. It's all like this all comes back to trusting yourself and your strategy, making small refinements in your mindset while creating safety and money, success, and visibility, and actually seeing the value in, working with the subconscious mind. I think there's so many people who see all my content, see all my client wins as well too, and are still like, I don't really feel like investing in hypnotherapy, but I'll spend $8,000 on a mastermind that I'm not going to see results in because I still have these subconscious, things happening under the surface. And again, like the subconscious mind is the goal getter. That's what's creating your reality. And so if our subconscious mind is not in line with our conscious desires, investing in that program is just going to be a waste of money for you. So we need you to see the value through these stories in actually working with the subconscious mind and taking the action to get the support with the mind, not just your strategy. That's where we see these massive, massive results. So overall, we already mentioned that we need to release the anxiety, overwhelm, and mental spiral because that just takes you further away from your goals. Trust that you're doing the right thing and that you are safe to let your voice be heard, to explore, these subconscious blocks and upper limits in our subconscious mind and understand what fears and small fears and beliefs are, repelling your success because of your behaviors and who you're being in your business. And it's so much easier than needing to completely redo your marketing strategy or post on TikTok 17 times a day or, be on all the platforms. It's more about who you're being and deciding that to be that multiple 5-figure self, like right now, not tomorrow, not next week, I'll invest in the program. Like right now, I'm going to be that person. And rather than being where you are now, where you're expecting like another failed launch, right? So I'll be the first one again. I already mentioned this to tell you that business isn't easy, but what you have control over is how you let it affect you, whether or not you let it make you doubt yourself, whether or not you continue to show up and you continue to move and you continue to take the action, and whether you keep moving despite the hard, right? Like choosing your hard. So overall, when you're ready to try hypnotherapy on your own terms while still seeing these insane results, you can start with the Dynamic CEO Hypnosis Bundle. It's $44. It will be below this episode. And it is where a lot of my clients start and are like, oh my gosh, this is life-changing. But overall, if you also feel like, okay, she talked about tailored support, she talked about moving through blocks, she talked about like questions she can ask us to understand where we're potentially limiting ourselves and getting our subconscious mind in line with the conscious mind. There's also Embodying the Leader Within, which is my 6-month group hypnotherapy program, is a great place to start. If you're like, yeah, that's me, I need that. Like I'm the marketing and sales expert. I know what I need to post. I don't need to focus on, what types of content to post, problem awareness versus this, versus this, versus this. Like my mind is what is holding me back. Definitely check out the links below this episode or DM me on Instagram to see which offer might be the right fit for you. Multiple 5-figure launches, 6-figure launches are available for you. They're just around the corner, but we just have to decide to be that person right now, today, not tomorrow, not next week. Let's go.